to Atlantic Ocean, upon me hills to Pocondre, to educate, elevate, and promote. Yeah, focus on Liberia, for Liberia, Liberia, for Liberia, yeah, 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 yeah. From Monday to Sunday. From Monday to Sunday, it's focused on Liberia. Talk about home affairs, hey, in diaspora, current affairs, hey, reliable information. Entertainment, business, sports, advertisement, articulation. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Ja.
And I am Anthony Sia. A pleasant welcome to Focus on Liberia, Friday night debate here at Focus on Liberia. And we have the debaters seated on the menu. The University of Liberia gets a new president and she has started talking. What is she saying? Well, I have argued and debated that every other president of the university since we came from war has failed terribly. So the question is, will she fail like others, or will she succeed unlike others, and why will it take for her to succeed? And if she will fail, what are the reasons, or what would be the reason for her failure? Some people are impressed already. I say impress my foot. Today, we are here to debate Liberia. I'm moderating, but I'll be debating somehow. Well, Mohammed Sherry is seated and ready. He's focused on Liberia political analyst, my good friend, comrade. Welcome. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing well. You're fired up, so I like that.
All right. J. Victor Namwe is also focused on Liberia political analyst. He's a veteran from the days of the progressive. Stay around trying to help us navigate this thing called politics. Mr. Namwe, how you doing?
What's up, Anthony? You see, when you say veteran, translation is old. That's why Glendy is laughing. But you know what? I'm fine with it. It's good to be here.
Don't listen to Glendy's definition. She's a radical Labran lady. So
I mean, I got political experience from back of Matthew days.
Oh,
a lot of political experience.
Also seated and joining us from Canada, I heard our President Trump trying to say, hey, you guys come on us. I don't know whether they agree. Mr. A. Walker Dukley is joining us from Canada. How you doing, sir? Welcome.
I'm fine, thank you. Anthony, it's a pleasure to be here.
All right. And we have Gabriel Carter. He is focused on Liberia, host for our Business and Economic Forum that is focused on Liberia Marketplace. Gabe, how you doing?
I'm glad to be here, Dennis. I mean, Anthony. Thank you.
Maybe I've been away for a little while now, you know. Dennis
exactly.
to get this ship going.
Be here.
Yeah, the only tough lady in the room is Glendy. Glendy, welcome. How you doing?
Hello, everybody. Hello, Anthony. It's good to be here. Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to everybody and folks in cyberspace and should I say Radio Land? This is Focus on Liberal Debate. The topics: new US president, Unity Party Youth Congress, they call themselves. There was this press conference, and no, they were trying to sharpen the contradiction they would say, but then they got hijacked. The whole press conference got hijacked, interrupted by some members of the very Unity Party Youth Congress. They were like, "Whoa, what are you talking about here? Since we won this thing, some of us has been ostracized, and some of you have been, enjoying and milking it, and you want to tell us that things are all good. No, it's not happening. It was chaotic." What does that tell us? And last but not the least, the usual alleged scandal in this government. Again, we are talking about from the office of the First Lady, scholarship, but the whole thing is questionable. Not forgetting the Ministry of Finance, there's a deal, then there's another question there too concerning that particular deal. We're going to talk about these alleged scandals in this government. My name is Anthony C. I'm moderating, and this is Friday Night Debate. Let's get started real quickly. Let's start with you, Gabriel. We have a new US president.
Yeah.
What is your impression with the appointment so far? And she have started somewhere somehow, started talking already. What you think going to happen? Is it a good appointment? Are there some issues there that you have? What do you make of her appointment as president of the University of Liberia?
Anthony, thank you. I think that is the appointment. I think from what I've seen so far, meaning as you alluded to earlier, from since 2003, the end of the war, every president that we've had at the university has failed. I think from a resume standpoint or academic standpoint, this is probably the most qualified individual that we can have at the helm, right? So I applaud that. I understand there's issues with her citizenship and all of that, but I think those are, things that we can get around. I think she won't be the first person with, citizenship issues, so we can get around that. I think what will be one of her biggest challenge in that office would be what do you call them? The youth, how do you call it? SUP or whatever, however you guys call them.
That is soup. You got it right.
Guys, those political guys who like to protest when there's whether there's a fee increase, tuition fee increases, they make it like a militant arena on the university campus. I think that would be probably her biggest challenge. And also, I think before we got on this show, I also alluded to that, raising funds for the university. You can't do that in Liberia. So that means you have to step outside of the country. The good thing about her, she comes from right here, Wellesley University. College. This is one of the best liberal arts schools. Alumni. You can talk about some of the alumni. Hillary Clinton. Some famous name came from there. So I think she has that network to bring that academic rigor back to the university, but also leverage the network to be able to bring some funding to the school that it desperately needs. And as I said earlier, maybe tap into the alumni, really build the network of the alumni base to make this thing, to the point maybe we can get an endowment for the university. So I think this is a good appointment, and I look forward to see what she has to do. Thank you.
All right. Let's get to the meat of this thing. One thing is not about the appointment. One thing is not about her credentials. Many before her have had the requisite credentials to be there, but they have not been able to get the job done. And they have all failed in my judgment. So, Comrade Mohammed Sharif, let me come to you now. All previous presidents have failed to resolve the long-standing issues at the university. What specific systemic challenges might this new president face that could hinder her success, and how you think she will overcome them?
It's an excellent question. There are systemic issues. First of all, the University of Liberia is tied to the political interests, the status quo. It's always been that way. It's been that way for a very long time. This is 160-year-old, 60-plus-year-old university created in 1862, and classes were open in 1863 with 7 students. And over those years now, what you have today is an enrollment of anywhere from 18,000 to 20,000 students. So you can see the enormous challenges already. So you talk about those challenges. You ask about those challenges. So the challenges are the university now has a large student population. And one of the things that the university has is the lack of adequate support from the national government. The national government has other priorities. We see travels. Our presidents, have not stopped to travel to fund the university. There are other things that they're doing. The legislature has not stopped paying themselves to fund the university. They're paying themselves. They have big largesse for themselves, and the university is underfunded. You can look at all sectors of the Liberian society that are very well funded, and the university is underfunded. The other time I mentioned, the institution, there are several institutions there on Capitol Hill. You have the executive mansion on Capitol Hill. You have, the House of Legislature on Capitol Hill. You have, the Temple of Justice on Capitol Hill, and among other institutions. And I told you guys that, I don't care about a lot of these institutions that have been used to suppress the Liberian people. So I didn't really care. I didn't have any attachment to those institutions. But one of the institutions really that I have attachment to, it's almost as if my umbilical cord is tied to that area, is the University of Liberia, Capitol Hill. When I enter the University of Liberia, Comrade Anthony, the day, after the orientation, I took my folder and I carried my folder, high so that people can see. I remember riding a taxi cab and, I carried my folder really high so people could see it. And that's the way I was so proud that now I'm finally a university student, the university that I used to hear about, read about, dream to enter. Now I was in this place. But no sooner did I enter, I learned that things were different. Sooner or later, our university president, Dr. Joseph G. Morris, was dismissed and replaced with Stephen Yackerson, and we started to protest. So one of the challenges, and of course, the government clamped down on that protest. So one of the challenges that she's going to have now, among the many challenges, is this sustained level of protests that's on campus. Gabriel mentioned, these student organizations. These student organizations are very good for the university. They are good things, and a lot of us learn a lot just by associating with these student organizations. And besides the learning process, these student organizations help keep the administration to keep their feet to the fire, proverbial fire, so to speak. So at least keeping them honest. So that's one of the challenges. Now, this may be something new to her. She's not of that culture. In the United States, you don't have students going around, chanting slogans and this and that and the other. So she's going to have that challenge. There are many, 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 many challenges that she's going to have. And one of those challenges, as I already mentioned, is the lack of support from the central government. The day something happens on campus, the president is not going to support her. And the university is usually in the pocket of the national authority. And that's a challenge.
Yeah. Glendy, if you look at in the immediate past, the presidents that we've had at the university, um, we all have known them to be Liberian 100%. You listen to this new president saying, I may be a stranger. Would that work in her interest? As students and other faculties members are going to say, well, this person is neutral. Will she not be seen as a UP person? The fact that she's an American going to have, is that going to be a plus or a good thing or a bad thing?
So let me just say that I feel like I'm in a room of pessimism, but I'm going to be extremely optimistic here. As a graduate of the University of Liberia, I only want the best for that university, so that history will serve all of us well. I think it can be concerning, but we must not be ignorant of the fact that we don't know what the qualification as it relates to what the criteria is based on what's set for who becomes president. We have to understand, are there rules, are there regulations against appointing president to the university who are quote unquote not traditional Liberians? The first president of the university was not a Liberian. He was not. There have been other institutions where they've had people serve there who are not Liberians. I want to consider her as a Liberian by virtue of the fact that she's married to a Liberian. So in my opinion, people will say, no, they don't want to agree with her. I am considering her as a Liberian. She's married to a Liberian man, a journalist. She was married in Liberia. If you listen to her today, she explained their love story, how they met, and she came back and got married in Liberia. She talked about also when she first landed at Roberts International Airport, what she felt. And that feeling has not left her. And I think we have to get to the place where, because we're in a dire need of so many things, that we have so many people come and tried, and they have not been able to do it. They feel, I don't think there's anything wrong with having her, quote unquote, a stranger. She has Liberian ties. Don't forget, Edward being Kessley's wife, was an American. She held at the Red Cross. There were other organizations. She went up in the foreign ministry. There were people who were quote unquote Americans, but connected to Liberia, who had positions. We're here. We're not in Liberia. We have American jobs. So what is the dynamic of that situation? I don't understand. If we can be in a foreign country and be given jobs, some people have some big jobs that foreigners should not have, and they hold them. But then you say, okay, it's good for us to be in their country and take their jobs. But no, they cannot come to Africa, or they cannot come to Liberia and take our jobs. I think that argument I don't want to be a part of. The fact that she's connected to a Liberian, I'm going to give her that credit, and I'm going to recognize her as a Liberian. And I think it would be to her credit, because when she explained and when she talked about her connections with Liberia and her love for the country and how she wants to help, she was not naive to the challenges. She outlined the challenges. She also talked about her first line, when there have been many presidents before her who have tried to rebuild this university and they failed. And she's going to come and continue from where they were. And there was a line she said, there is no U without a UL. So I see you and I want you to see me, and I want us to be able to work together. So I think that in the end, it's not going to be or not.
Is that your first time hearing a leader speaking about what they would do? I mean, we've heard great speeches. We've heard from leaders, and they say a lot of beautiful things. Did you listen to one guy called Jean-Paul Klein, who was the head of the United Nations mission in Liberia when it started?
Yes, I listened.
I've never heard anybody speak so eloquently, very motivational and inspirational. At that time, I listened to the guy say, my problem is solved.
Amen.
And that guy left Liberia. And Liberia remained in that hole.
But then
Don't-
one of the but
I don't go by what people say. Because Lord have been said already. Every leader who came to the university said a lot of things. We're going to see her plan. It's going to be a good plan, I would suppose, right? But
Yes.
getting the job done has been the problem. So
Which
to
is true,
measure
but you can't
words
you
as
can't hold
criteria
that
for
against her, though.
success, I think you're just getting ahead of yourself. Yeah, you don't think so?
But you
I
have to
don't
look
think
at
so. I
her.
don't think so. And I don't think you can hold that against her for being
Mm-hmm.
optimistic that she can do the job. You also need to look back at the histories of the presidents of the university. We've had 3 female presidents.
Mm-hmm.
And when you compare it to the males, they've done better. Anthony Brown Sherman, check her records. They've done way better than the men. And I always have this cliche. What a man can do, a woman can do 10 times better. And that's why I'm enthusiastic about her, because I think she's at a place she knows that she needs to be able to make a difference. The fact that she's been given this glorious opportunity to come to this foreign country of her husband and do this work, I think she's going to excel.
Blendy, this is the woman who lives in the U.S., United States, and have been around universities or colleges. This is her life. She have seen quality, what it means when I say quality education. Mm-hmm. She knows and understands what a campus is, what a learning environment is. She knows the cost associated with it. And the Liberian government cannot even give her 10% of what she knows to be a learning environment. You think she able to find the money? Because Liberian government would not even, because Liberian government cannot give her the $500 million the budget.
And I'll tell you again today, she said,
you think she able to find
yes.
the 100? No, actually, I'm thinking that the UL need about $900 million a year to operate. You think she can find that money? Because
I think so. And she spoke about it today. Mm-hmm. She said, my work starts tonight. Every organization that I'm connected to, every university that I know, every group that I know, I'm going to start soliciting tonight, today. People can be pessimistic. I'm extremely optimistic about this woman.
Daneja, if you are listening, get that woman's phone number. I want to interview her.
Please.
I want to see that university as the beacon of hope it was intended to be.
Yes.
Listen to my comrade here, Mohammed Sharif, when he grabbed his photo, he had it hard. This man was all the way beyond God back in the southeast. He's very about this school. And his imagination of that school remains so supreme today. But it's not that. I want to see that.
Don't burst his bubble. Don't burst his bubble, please.
J. Victor, let me come to you. During the progressive days, I can argue that there was so much quality on the campus in terms of learning, academically. That has lost now, completely. It's gone, right? And now we have leaders who have come and gone. And then if you look at the learning environment, it's not befitting of a university. Leo Johnson have argued that that whole place should even be wiped away. Let's start new and start building new structure. Because what you have there, if you even decide that you want to renovate, it's that trouble you're bringing, because that has been the plan. Let's renovate what we have. Let's renovate what we have. What do you think should be the plan that this woman should bring now to resuscitate the university?
Well, I like to, I think I'm 50-50 with this lady. I give her a 50% chance, that she succeeds. And then I give her a 50% chance she doesn't. And here are my reasons. I looked at her CV briefly. She has absolutely no experience in working in any third world country. She has not run any university. She's been, head of department and stuff like that, but I don't see her running any university. So she will need time to immerse herself in, the Liberian culture. And that takes time. Unfortunately, like I said previously, that is the time she will not have. The people want solutions yesterday. So that is going to pose a problem for her. 2, there is a culture at the university. If she must succeed, she has to disrupt that culture, right? There are people in the government right now who still patronize the university because the university is always the testing ground, right, on how to disable a government. There's a reason why, these campus organizations are maintained. There are people right now in the government at the university as well who have interest in these organizations, maintaining themselves at the university. But like you said, just as you were introducing me, what we have today at the university and most of the campuses, those are not student organizations anymore. During our day, we wrote
Thank
releases.
you.
When was the last time you ever saw these children write a piece of paper?
Thank
They don't
you.
write nothing. They just gather under the Palava hut and speak a lot of misplaced big books. Do you understand me? But those are agitators. They're very, very well trained. She will have to find a way to deal with that culture. That is going to pose a problem for her. There is a question of funding, and this is where I think she will have a chance. I looked at her CV. She has done a lot of grant writing, which I think she will need how to write a grant and bring in money. If she must cut her own path and say to hell with the executive mansion, she has to bring in her own money. So she's done grant writing, but my only concern is most of the grants she wrote for are just they're within a very small little domain, very small area. So I hope she's going to broaden her reach. I think if she does that, she succeeds. If she can bring in her own money and change the culture, fight to change that culture, I think she will do well. So I know she has a background in activism, in women issues, in minority issues, in biracial issues. I'm not sure if those are sufficient to drive her success at the university. So I right now I'm tentative. I give her a 50% chance she will succeed if she plays well, and I give her a 50% chance she will not succeed. If she's going to depend on the funding from the government, she will not succeed. If she's going to cut out to the old culture at the university, she will not succeed. She has to break that chain. If she doesn't, she's going to fail. They're going to come out to agitate. Right now, you saw, we've seen pictures recently. The university is dilapidated. It's in disrepair. It's in ruins. From infrastructure to academics, there's a lot of work to be done. A lot. It requires time. It requires money. So I'm interested to see, how she's going to deploy her strategy to deal with these problems that are all in emergency cases. All of them are emergencies. None of them can wait. So she has to simultaneously deal with these problems, the infrastructure problem, the salary problem, the academic problem. They're all coming at her at once. What's that movie? Everything at Once, or whatever they call that movie. Everything Everywhere at Once. I think that's it. But yeah, she'll have all those problems coming at her at once. I like to see how she will balance that act. So I give her a 50-50.
Mr. Dukle, you are not strange to learning environment, college education, and you are also aware of the local complexities and difficulties on the ground. University of Liberia, Liberian. I know we are aware that the lady is married to a Liberian. She's been to Liberia, several times. But I don't know how long she has lived in Liberia. I don't know how long she has interacted with students and professors and faculty, at any learning environment in Africa. And we're talking Liberia here. And then we have all of the constraints, resources, capacity with faculty, and so on and so forth. Even the facility is not. Let me tell you this: the University of Liberia main campus on Capitol Hill is the worst campus if we compare all the government high schools in Liberia. The University of Liberia campus is the worst. The facility is the worst. D12 High School is better than University of Liberia. G. Gary Gacy is better. Tottenham High is better. Don't even compare it with private high schools. The private high school all beat the University of Liberia. This is how terrible it is. What you think the woman can do in 5 years for us to say, yes, we have a university? Sorry, that question is too tough, but that's what I have for you. Unmute yourself.
Yeah, thank you very much, Anthony. I think, whoever in their wisdom, thought of hiring this lady. Um, Decided to humiliate this lady. I, for one, I work in academia myself. My university is a very small university in comparison. But what I've learned in my years of working at the university and things that I've seen myself and how universities are run, um, I have no issue with the individual. I think if the metric is going to be her academics, I think she would pass with flying colors. That's not the issue. I think this lady has been thrown in a lion's den for her to fail, and she will fail. And I don't say this, you know, with any joy, or I don't say it because it's easier to say. No, Anthony, you alluded to some of the issues. The University of Liberia need to be demolished and rebuilt from scratch, because whoever attempt to renovate or do whatever, you are just going to be creating more damage than good. With that said, somebody mentioned about this lady coming with her own money. Now, then you are setting her up to collude with the government of Liberia. Because the moment they sense some funding coming to her through the university and through her own means, they are now going to get greedy. They want part of it. They will want part of it. They are purposely not funding the university the way they should. We all know that the university is chronically underfunded. There is no faculty. In every sphere of that university, there's no one single place you can point and say this is better than this. They are all rotten to their core. And the government that is supposed to be the major funder of that university pretends as if they don't know what is happening there. I remember very, very well when Joseph Morris was president of the University of Liberia. Joseph Morris used to live on Saw Beach. His kids and I were friends through another friend called M.B. Sharif. He's in Philadelphia now. They were friends. And from there, that was the first time I ever visited the University of Liberia. For a country our age, for our country that have existed for as long as we have, you can bring the president of Harvard. He or she won't make a dent in what is wrong with the Republic of Liberia, University of Liberia. So, Anthony, to answer your question directly, this lady is going to fail. And she's not going to fail because she's incapable. No, she's going to fail because of the environment she's going to find herself in. People have called themselves a niche where they thrive on corruption in that university. People have created an environment where any outsider who attempts to bring in new idea, they are going to shut you down. And this lady is not going to be any exception to that rules. That's one. The second thing is
No, Lane, Gabriel, you're coming.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. So from my perspective, look, every university that I know of, they do have a foundation or an endowment with astronomical numbers. We know from the University of Liberia at one point, we were funded by humanitarian organization in the United States. And we know how much money used to come in. Now, when you go back to from 1978 to 1984, when Antoinette Mary Brown Sherman was president, we saw what she did. And the only reason why she did it was because of who she was. And people listened. So from there, when she was let go, they brought in Joseph Morris. So it's not about the academics. It's not about the qualification of the person who is coming. It's about the systemic barriers that are in that university. You got. why should we even be talking about bathroom of an institution that is, I don't know how many years old? So it just tells you the magnitude of what she's up against. And again, I'm going to reiterate what I said earlier. She is not going to fail because she's incapable. No, she is simply going to fail because of where she's found herself. She's going to fail because of the people she's going to be surrounded by. She's going to find herself, she's going to fail because there's not a conducive environment for her to succeed.
Thank
So,
you. Thank
so
you. And
here's
Gabriel, hold
yeah.
on. Each of you now will get 2 minutes to give your, closing on this particular issue, because we all
Yeah.
have two other issues on the menu. So,
Yeah.
and my question to all of you that you're going to close with here on this issue is why you think she will succeed and why you think
Yeah.
she will fail. And you got to
Perfect.
give me all two. If you don't give me all two, just leave the debate stage. Gabriel, you go first.
Perfect. And that's exactly
I know
what I
Glenny
was trying
doesn't
to
like
do.
that, but I will do it
Um,
too.
this is exactly what I was trying to do. I
Mhm.
think sometimes we have to be cognizant of this whole, oh, we've been here because of the pre-existing condition, because of how the university is. So that means we can never come out of there. I understand that. We come out of a war, those who apply based on how they were interviewed, nobody knew what they proposed to do for the university, right? In terms of solving the age-old problem that some of you guys are talking about. But here's in as much that I think I agree with all of you in terms of the age-old problem with the student protesting, the dilapidated condition of the university, the lack of rigor since the war ended. But you have to look at the individual who's taking over, right? I understand the university can be used as a political uh, pitch, like it's like a pitching ground for politics. Perfect. This lady has been a department chair. It's almost like an administrative role,
It
right?
is.
It's like you're running a university within a university, if you know what a department chair is, right? And I'll keep, for those of you who, Wellesley is right next to me in my state here. It's one of the best small liberal arts college for women. When you hear rigors, it has a very research-based curriculum. Some famous people came from there. As I said, Hillary Clinton. Cookie, I think it's what her name, Cookie Ryan or whatever her name is. There are famous
Okay,
women
Robert.
that came from here. Yeah, Cookie Roberts. Famous women came from this university. It has rigor. So for someone who is coming from there, here's something we can get from her. She will bring that same rigor, the research base. As a flagship university of Liberia, the University of Liberia is supposed to be a research institution, first and foremost, putting out peer review articles and research and things that people are supposed to be identifying with the university. This is someone I don't know the resume of everybody who's been there, but I don't think this is something that they have in their background, right? So that's one aspect. The other aspect of that is she's coming from the a university that is well funded. She has a lot of networks in terms of raising funds, right? One thing that I think is going to be a challenging aspect to that is her ability, whether she was given the autonomous to bring administrators around her. Meaning you're not just coming and putting somebody at the helm, but they're not able to bring people, hire people, the right people around themselves to progress, right? To do what they're supposed to do. That's going to be a challenge. And I can't hear you. You're coming in.
I say I want to remind you about my question. Giving reasons why you think she will succeed if she will, reasons she will fail if she will. And you have 30 seconds left now. You muted yourself, Gabriel. You mute yourself and
I
conclude.
gave you two on one. I give you two on one end, and I gave you one.
Mhm. Okay.
The other aspect. So I'll give you one on the reason why I think if ever a possibility why she could fail would be the political dynamics and atmosphere at the university. right? If she can come in and say, because I am new, I can strip everything, meaning I can fight, I can clean house, clean all the professors and bring in new professors, strip the curriculum and bring in new curriculum. And the people that she's going to bring in, if they can follow what the curriculum that she wants, the kind of university she wants to build, she will succeed. But if she is not able to do that, and if she is not given that autonomy, it's going to she's going to be strangled to that. So that could
Thank
be
you.
is a positive and a
Thank you,
negative.
Deepak.
One more point,
Thank you,
and I
Deepak.
will land. One more point, and I will land.
Yeah, please be
One more
quick.
point, right?
Yeah.
I think I said this earlier, and I will continue to say this. I hope she taps into the alumni base. That university has a great group of alumni that can be used as a weapon for fundraising. Every university does that. This is how they build endowments. This is how they're funded. This is how they supplement their scholarship. This is how they
Thank
even
you.
supplement their budget. So if she can tap into that, I think it will help her a lot in terms of, in addition to the budget that she will get from the government. Thank you.
Thank you. Glendy, reasons why she will succeed and reason why she might fail.
I'm a bit perplexed. And I'm almost I feel that I'm here amongst a lot of the chauvinism of the men is high tonight.
We are in the real world, Glendy.
Let me just say my piece. Unfortunately, as a woman, I would say first, in everything you do in life, there are possibilities to fail and there are possibilities not to fail. And the only possibility of Dr. Layli Mapayan failing will be if the support that she needs from the government is not given and is not transparent. I'm of the opinion that she will not fail because we, as a graduate of the University of Liberia and others, and even the current students, I think we've gotten to a place where we are tired hearing the same old story about the university. And I think just because of the fatigue and the previous presidents that have been there and not being able to cross us to the finish line will propel this new administration under Dr. Mapayan to do better. As a graduate to sit in here, people say start the university from scratch. I beg to differ. Please don't do that. That's just unsettling for me. To hear people suggest that you want to start from scratch. Who does that? And when we come up there, we see
the day water enter your house and they get completely ruined.
That's different. That is a different thing for you to.
This is even more than that.
No, but you can't compare that.
You don't have a grasp of what the problems are at the university.
You're talking about
because of your love for the university.
But you cannot come and say, let's start the university from scratch.
Redeem the university, Glendy. That's what you're doing. Go ahead.
No, you can't say, let's start the university from scratch. Who's going to do that? Who's going to go and start that
is
from
what
scratch?
is required.
Why would we even suggest that? How can we even just...
What's your understanding of starting a university from scratch? What's your understanding of starting a university from scratch?
I'm just saying, when you say, okay, let's just start over how? What are you planning to do?
You are resisting that, so
rebuilding the whole thing.
What is your understanding of it?
Really? Breaking the building down and starting over and that changes the system? You think the structure
is not befitting of any university?
But you think the problem with university is the structure? Look, I still want to believe in the University of Liberia. As an honor student of that university, I still want to believe in it. And I still feel that there's when you go biblically and they say, is there anything good that can come out of Nazareth? I'll say yes. And I think we're at the place, and as an alumni association member of the alumni association, I think we can work with this new administration to be able to bring the change that the university needs. And yes, to Mr. My brother Ducle, there is an endowment fund. Dr. Conta spoke about it. He started it when he was there before. Wherever it is, to what extent, whatever's in there, that's one. But I wanted to say something. There were 22
endowment
people.
Fund?
Yes. It was mentioned today. Go back and listen
No.
to
It's
the
just the
message.
name, Gabriel. No money coming from there. So
There,
I'm
there is
just
no
saying he said
endowment fund. The
he was
closest
trying
we've
to say
had
that
is
there
the
was none
one
of this.
that
So listen now,
there isn't.
all the men then are coming to go into the other side now. All the men then talk. Nobody argue.
yeah,
Give
Gabriel,
me
don't
Anyway,
be
let me
chance.
shut up.
Let me
I
land.
agree. I agree. I agree.
Yes.
I yield.
So
I yield.
let me just say there were 22 people that applied. The committee was headed by Sister Mary Lorraine Brown. She's in Liberia. Call her. Ask her.
Blondie, she got the job now.
Hold
Let's talk
on.
about what needs to
No.
be
But
done.
give me. You want me to talk?
Anthony, let her
You
let
want
her
me to
make her
talk?
point.
Call Mary Antoinette Bryan. Ask her for the process. If you have a problem with the process, but to have 22 men, 22 people, 21 men, and one woman comes out. And we're acting like this woman is so naive, like she's a child, like she doesn't know. Like some of the jobs that you have here in America, did you have experience before? What experience did you come with? Oh, she hasn't Africa, she hasn't lived in Liberia. This is a psychologist. She's a renowned psychologist. Who are you kidding? She's not a child. She's married to a Liberian. You think she didn't hear about this place? We cannot get to the place where we're minimizing her potential to be able to work in
all other
tough
presidents
situations.
have heard about this
We can't
place.
do
They
that.
went there, and some of them failed.
We get that, but that does not mean that she's going to fail. And we cannot dwell on the pessimism of the fact that others didn't get to do it, so it means that she will not do it. We can't do that.
I agree.
We gotta be hopeful. It's
on
like
that,
we're
yeah.
all already. Today is not even day one. Day one is the 13th, and we're already saying don't even start because you will fail. That's not correct.
Let me understand something. You said that if only she can get all the support from the government,
No,
she's gonna succeed.
I said I don't think she's gonna fail.
Yes.
I believe she's going to succeed. And you said we should give her a reason why we think she
And
will
what
fail.
is
I said
success?
the
How do
only
we
reason
define
why
success?
I think
Gabriel, you are interrupting too much.
think
You want to moderate?
the only reason why I think there's a possibility of her failing is if the government will not be supportive of the initiatives that she wants to undertake. She has 100 days that she's already set forth of the things that she wants to do in a 100 day. Give her a chance.
All right.
Give her some chance.
Thank you. Another 100 days. I know my friend Mohammed Shari and comrade Victor Nam, we have heard about 100 days. The other 100 days we not see us at Atlanta.
So let me just address. I'm sorry,
days.
Anthony.
Yeah, go ahead.
I hate to do this, but there's this James Brown who's on the feed and saying this lady is delusional. I will respond to him later on my page. James Brown, if you know who I am, you wouldn't have written this. To call somebody delusional. Why are you not up here coming and talking?
James, you don't do that to our guests.
I would deal with him. I don't draw back from that.
You can disagree, but to intelligently insult somebody like that is unacceptable, James. Please don't do that.
It's not intelligence. This is inappropriate.
Please don't do that. Don't do that.
Very inappropriate.
That is unacceptable.
I mean, she made a lot of points. You can argue with any of the points. You don't have to.
Yeah. All right. J. Victor, quickly.
Yes. So Anthony, let me push back on my sister Glennie a little bit. She I got all the love for her. But how does she come up with male chauvinism? Nobody has said anything about this woman's gender. All of the input we made. Nobody. None of us has said
You're
anything.
just trying to play a legend, okay?
No. You asked me a question, right?
So yes,
had it been a male appointed, would we hear this?
Yes.
You're not hearing me. I'm supporting her. I'm supporting the lady.
So first of all,
I'm supporting her.
I understand.
Yes, you are, Gabriel.
There were 3 people who made a final list. She was not a favorite. But because of political consideration, 2 of those people were not considered. That alone is a problem. That is a problem.
It's hearsay.
That
is hearsay.
Everything we're talking here, hearsay. None of us are in the room there.
Exactly.
Everything we're talking here, hearsay. But so look, even here in the States, people have come to university and failed miserably. And some people have come and wildly succeeded. It depends also on the background. Some of the University of Liberia is underwater in almost every respect: academic, financial, infrastructure. You have to come to the university with some kind of background. If you have come from running one university and coming over there, I would say, you know what? I think this lady really, I think first of all, she's coming to learn how to run a university. That's a problem. Two, she's coming to learn Liberia, learn Africa, learn the third way. Those are all marks against her, and this is why I'm very very tentative about her succeeding. I'm hoping she does, but she has a lot of heavy lifting to do. And then let me say what you didn't want me to say. She's a woman. In our culture, you know how it is. As educated as we all are, that we are not there yet, where we treat each other, both men and women, equally. She's going to be butting up against men, at the legislature, at the mansion, or wherever it is, where she's going to push her agenda. It is going to give her a lot of difficult time. Trust me.
Will do well. Cotton
I,
University has
I'm
a
hoping
female
she does
president who has
well,
done
but
well.
it's just that she has too many things working against her.
Cottington
Not to
University
mention
has
it,
a female president. Your Cottington University has
You
a
can't
female
compare
president
Cottington with
who
University
has
of
been there
Liberia.
for 3 years,
I
and she's
know.
done
You can't
exceptional.
compare the two.
Yes.
No,
You
I
can't
would
compare
just
the
say
two. Yeah.
because she's a woman, we have male at Cottington who did not do as our current president has done. Under her administration, she has started a doctoral process. We're talking program. We're talking about a woman here.
That's
She's done
true.
exceptional at
From an
Cottington. She's a
academic
That's
female.
true.
standpoint,
That's
I
true.
believe she was
I agree
excellent. She
with
was
you.
a
But
Let me
one, she's a
explain what I
Liberian.
used was exceptional. Go ahead, Mr.
She's a
Namwe.
Liberian. She doesn't need to learn the Liberian culture. You understand me? So, but listen, I hope this lady succeeds, honestly. But I'm very, very cautious. I just think she has too many things working against her. I don't, and the little things she has working in her favor, even then, those are all speculative because she has no proving ground. That she's done this and done that. She's turned this university around, or she ran this little junior college. So the University of Liberia is a huge institution. Somebody said, I think it was Mohammed, 160 years old. It is steeped in tradition, corruption, culture, old boy, old girl club.
Yeah.
She's coming in there to butt
Yeah.
up against all of those, and we think she's going to succeed. I hope she does. I really hope so.
And if they
And
give her the autonomy, she can clean house. I believe that.
yes.
If they give her the
All right,
autonomy, she can clean house.
Comrade Sharif, let's come to you, Comrade. Why you think she might succeed and why you think she might fail? I want her to succeed, but it's obvious that she's in a hole.
You do?
Yes. Have I ever shy away from speaking my mind, Glendy? I don't see the possibility of success here. Go ahead, Comrade.
Yeah, so this is thinking outside of the box a little bit for Joseph Boakai to do this. So I'm wishing that she succeeds because this university, this institution of learning, used to be one of the best in West Africa, believe it or not. And people came from everywhere. When we were up there, we saw Sudanese students, South African students, students from everywhere were on the campus. And those who were there before us uh, spoke highly of the environment it was with all the political things that went on, even with all of that. So what happened was that, after the revolution of 1980, the military junta began to clamp down on, the university administration. And so every administration after that have been subservient, or maybe you can go back before the military, have been very subservient to the whims and caprices of the chief executive. So one of the challenges that she's going to have is that Boakai is not going to like what the students are doing on campus. So President Boakai is going to depend on her to clamp down on the students, to do his bidding. And she's probably not going to do that. This is not her culture. This is not something that she's disposed to doing. And that's going to be her undoing. When we protested against Stephen Yekison, we did so, in the spirit of, the integrity of the University of Liberia, because we thought that Dole was imposing Stephen Yekison on us and removing Joseph Morris. Joseph Morris was not, to me, great by any means. From what I heard, I wasn't there during Dr. Mary Antoinette Brown Sherman. From what I heard is that Dr. Sherman remained one of the best at that university. She left a record of excellence at the university. And so Joseph Morris came in as a Dole appointee, and he was quickly removed and replaced by Stephen Yekison, whom we thought was a stooge of the executive mansion. Albeit, Stephen Yekison was allowed to stay until the Civil War, when every one of us were, scattered, the university shut down. So it's going to be a challenge for her to clamp down on dissent on campus. Keep in mind that university is a reservoir of political activities that she has never seen before. What she's going to experience is a lot of activities from students, a lot of activities even from faculty, because the university has a very outspoken university faculty association. So she's going to have to deal with all of these tendencies, all the different tendencies. She's going to deal with the underdevelopment. I don't subscribe to the idea that you have to break down the university structure by structure to be able to achieve a good. I think that if we don't have an imposing visitor on the university, we don't have the president imposing his will. If the president is supportive, I think that she can do better. So what is better for me? Better for me is the first thing to maintain is just maintain a stable calendar in your first 1 year. How about keeping the university open consistently in your first 1 year? So that stability will lead to her having the opportunity to go out to seek funding. And I wish her very well. I wish her very well that she's going to get the funding. I'm confident, as a grant writer, I'm confident that she's going to get the grant needed, to fund the university. That's a university that needs to be funded. She's not going to get it from government, Comrade Anthony. You're correct. She's not going to get it from the Liberian government. That's another challenge that she's going to have. The Liberian government, our ministers, our president, and our lawmakers would rather travel here in the United States, support institutions here in the United States than back home. These guys don't sponsor anything in Liberia. So that's the challenge that she's going to have. You asked about success. I think that is, I hope that she's going to succeed. So we're not going to, start by saying that, okay, I hope she fails. I heard somebody say, I hope she fails. I don't hope she fails, because you know what? That institution across Capitol Hill, from the Capitol building, that's the institution that I have affinity to. The rest of the other ones across the street, the Capitol building, the Executive Mansion, the Temple of Justice, the police headquarters, I have no affinity to those buildings. Those buildings.
Let me help you. The Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs,
I don't care. That Ministry of Information,
Foreign Affairs, name those.
We don't need those. We don't need those buildings across the other side. You understand? So I have affinity to the one across the other side. And I pray and hope that those buildings across the other side, which is the University of Liberia, it can succeed. The one below us, the Monrovia City Hall, I have no affinity to that also.
Thank you.
So you see where my heart lies. I'm telling you, I held my folder, my orientation folder. It has a big black writing across, University of Liberia student, welcome. And I held this in my hand and I walked down all the way to Greater Monrovia to Waterside, just bragging about this. This is a guy who went to Wypley Institute and now to Julia, and now he's
Yeah, the
on
big league.
University
Yeah, in the
campus.
big
You,
league.
you probably did the Chelsea driver that day. Thank you, Kobe. Yeah. Mr. Dugley, you're closing on this particular topic, sir.
I think, Mr. Sherry, in retrospect, you wish those days would come back, but that's behind us. And I don't think anyone on this panel wish for Dr. Mapaya to fail. We are only speaking of the reality that she's going to find herself in. And I don't think she's going to be there making unilateral decisions on her own because she's the president. She's going to be surrounded by people who are entrenched in that rotten culture that is at the University of Liberia today. She's going to be dealing with people who pretend that they don't know what the problems are at the University of Liberia. When it comes to Liberia and its politics, Glennis, I can bet my life on it. That's how much I'm willing to tell you that when I say something, I don't say it lightly. I don't say it because I hate Liberia. I don't say it because I don't want Liberia to succeed. Personally, for me, I think she has all the ingredients that she needs to succeed, except that she's going to a place that don't appreciate success. One of the reasons why Mary Antoinette Brown Sherman, the first female president of the university, one of the reasons why she succeeded, pardon me?
No, I was just trying to say president of the University of
one of the reasons why she succeeded was she fought the government. And it was the same government that got rid of her. Because she fought the government, the bureaucracy that was hindering her work, she fought them to tooth and nail. And I think we all saw that. That was one of the reasons why she succeeded, being the first female president of the University of Liberia. As we speak today, her marks are still there. Now, today is a different time. We are in a different environment. And personally, I don't like to always dwell on this notion of the war, because even before the war, University of Liberia was a mess. The war only maybe exacerbated the deteriorating condition that it was in before. So the thing that must happen before she succeed, those things are not there. Only the thing that will cause her to fail that are there, and they are everywhere. So we're not saying this with some fanfare because we want to see it happen. No, we don't. But it is the reality of Liberia that we live in today. It is the current condition of Liberia. And sometimes when I say I want them to demolish and start from scratch, I don't mean that literally. It's just I'm just expressing to you my disgust of the terrible condition LU is in. I don't mean it literally, but I mean, and even if that was the case, Fendel can host other campuses until they can do that. But that's not what I'm trying. I'm simply trying to tell you how bad, how deteriorating things are at the university.
Thank you so very much.
Most of the things we hear today, they're not only limited to the University of Liberia, in every sector in Liberia.
Thank you.
So her culture is going to be foreign to the people that she's going to be around. Her culture of bringing this new idea from America, she thinks that America, she will see. Glenn, don't act as if you don't know our people. I mean, I'm proud of you, of the way you are exhibiting your affinity to your alma mater. I like that. But it goes against the reality on the ground at LU. And I'm sure you know that.
All right. Thank you. I enjoyed the discussion on this. I enjoy Glendy's love for the University of Liberia. I love that university, but in a very tough way. That's the only way it will work. The way Glendy trying to love the university, the mother loving the daughter. And sometimes
we will succeed. We will succeed.
The get shy. All right. Let's move to something else. The Unity Party that is in power now its youth congress. They call themselves the Indomitable Youth Congress of the Evergreen Party. I'm like, where are they getting these words from? What do those words even mean anything? Right? So they put a press conference together, and some of you should go and focus on like rough Facebook it to watch it. And there is a gentleman called Yusu Kamara. Many of you might have seen him here. He's like a junior brother to me. I've interviewed him. He's been here. He works at the Freeport now, the National Port Authority. So he's stratified in his government. He shines. You can tell, from the distance that this guy is getting paid regularly. Something must be in his pocket. And then you have the other members of the Indomitable, Youth Congress of the Unity Party, the Evergreen Party, who are still trying to find jobs. Who can't even afford transportation. You can't even get to some of the leaders right now. And now the press conference was intended to advocate and to project that the government is in charge, trying to meet the needs of the citizens, especially the youth. And the youth were like, wait a minute, Jusu, what are you talking about? So the press conference was interrupted, completely disrupted, and the disenchanted members of the youth took over, practically. And they managed to just, get them away. And Yusu came to the microphone again, pretending that he was in charge and to tell us what actually has not been there. My question is, what does it tell us about how our new government is doing right now? How are Liberian feelings? Because these are the people, the very young people, who were in the proverbial poo water dinners who say for the Unity Party. This is the first major press conference of the Unity Party Youth Congress, disrupted by Unity Party youth. I know Comrade Sherry said, well, this election,
I would love to hear his point, because I know that's his.
So, Comrade, I'm going to start with you. I think it was profound.
Why?
Yeah, it was profound to me. What's your reading of that? I think it says a lot about how things are and how people are feeling in the country.
I mean, thanks for laying that out for me. I haven't followed that all that much. But look, what's going on? What has been going on is whenever election is over, people, you don't see the party stalwarts anymore. Because it's all about what? Jobs, right? There was a time, I don't know if you remember, there were some partisans that went to the Unity Party headquarters, and it was funny because they said that since the election, the party chairman, Secretary General, everyone has fled. Only ghosts, okay, ghosts were living in the Unity Party headquarters. So I think that anytime a group shows up, they drive away the ghosts, and then they have their little conferences, and they go out. Nobody is sitting in these offices anymore to build institutions, comrade. There are no institution builders. Whether you're talking about the Unity Party, whether you're talking about the CDC before that, it's all about elections, win, and then when we win the election, we take the spoils. So that's all this is all about. So the discussion that we're having, from time to time about real reform. What are you going to do about education? What are you going to do about roads? Those of us who are very passionate about roads in the interior. What are you going to do about the economy? What are you going to do about healthcare? If for those who are very passionate in that area, the rule of law and all these different things. So these grand ideas do not mature when these parties win. So the Unity Party, what you have seen now is that after a year, there is simmering disappointment among the membership. And now when you compound that with what the president, what the party has now sponsored by, consolidating and taking power, away from all of these different, opposition. For example, the whole Kofa situation, you have discontentment even among the young people. So the young people who are now supposed to be, the rising leaders in the organization, in the country, right? Who are supposed to be rising in the party. And then, these young people are seeing the same old, same old. So nothing has changed to them. So these disenchanted people are looking at, Juicy and others to say, man, you guys have made it, but we're not. So there's a lot there, right? So every single time after election, you have this kind of situation. And it doesn't matter whether it's the Unity Party, it doesn't matter whether it's the Congress for Democratic Change. So, sometimes you sit around and say, but what is the need for election? What is the new need for a change? Because sometimes it's not really a change. You don't really see a radical change. You see the same old trend. We sat here and criticized George Weah for flying all over the country in private jets, right? All over West Africa and beyond. You see the same things now. You see manifestations, the same thing. We criticize George Weah for sponsoring the removal of Kabina Janneh. What do you see now? You see manifestation of the same dictatorial tendency. So it's, so you wonder, why do we even need a change? So that's what's going on. So these young people are also disenchanted with that. They also want a piece of the national cake. It's about, is the cake out there? Okay, you got to take your share before it's over. So they need a piece of the national cake. That's all it is. People are not talking about fundamental issues that you and myself are talking about right now. Nobody cares about this for the most part. Ask the party chairman, where is he now? What is he talking about? Ask the party secretary general, where is he now? What is he talking about? He's talking about a job for himself.
Where you are right. And
where he can fly around.
Yeah, just a few months back, some members of the party were asking the chairman, the secretary general, and all other officials of the party who got employed with the government appointed to just relinquish their positions with the party. There's a debate that, look, this is even conflict of interest. You can't be this and then you're in government. And those guys have not resigned.
Right.
They want to be party leaders at the same time they want to be government officials. Now they don't have time to do the party's job.
Right.
That's why the party headquarters now is a ghost time.
Living in there.
The thing is, you're not getting paid to be party official. You're getting paid as a government official. Why can't you commit all the time to the government?
Right.
And allow someone who may have the time to do that job?
Right.
Anyway, Glendy, let me come to you. And during that protest, that press conference, I saw the disenchanted members of the Youth Congress, they stood on the conference table. There was a big conference table in the room where they were having the press conference. Those guys stood on the table and they said, this thing is not going to happen. This is not happening. They were disenchanted. So this whole thing is about jobs. If anything, it was just about jobs. They see some of their friends in government, they're shining, and they are struggling finding transportation. What does that say? What's your read of that?
I think this has been a consistent response. We saw that from the Weah government with the seditions. There are also from other governments, even from the Chancellor government, there were people who fought with him and followed him and whatever, and they didn't get the people always. I think because I don't know if it's not country first, it's self first. So we take away the fact that I'm helping you or I'm going to get you to win because of what I'm going to get. And so when you're not recognized in that way, then you become disenchanted. And what they're not taught in the beginning is, and what is not drilled is that it's not everybody that's going to get a job. You're doing this because you want a better country, but also flipping it on the other side, even if they don't have their job, their livelihood has to change.
Mhm.
There are things that they should be able to get easily. So if you didn't give somebody a job and their livelihood is they're not being able to get bare minimum bread and butter issues, what do you expect?
Mhm.
You can't expect them to still be happy about your government or happy about supporting you when they're finding it difficult to just bare minimum get food to eat. So this is the thing, and this is the thing where we say elections have consequences. Is the consequences of election that are not discussed prior to winning the elections that people later on will have the effect, and that's what's happening. You people get disenchanted because they see other people are enjoying. Other people they have ends meet. They're getting more than they need, getting rich by the dozens. And then you who were there in the trenches, you're still trying, you're still struggling. And I don't know how you can even resolve such a thing. I think if everybody, if they had bare minimum jobs, if they could afford, or if they went to school and they had some form of job, maybe they wouldn't be so disenchanted. But how fair is it to the common Liberians? You see them struggling. People, they always like to go back to the fact they were in the poo water, excuse the expression. And now the poo water story is over and they can't find food to eat. They're going to be upset. It's just a human tendency, which is unfortunate for them. And nobody is really meeting their needs or talking to them. It's like, how do you think it's okay that they should just move on? I supported you, but I don't have food to eat.
Yeah.
It's difficult, but that's the reality of the situation. People will continue to get richer. People will continue to get poorer because the focus is not on the progressive nature of the country. The focus is on what I can get in my pocket, how I can secure my little personal space environment with my family, and I'm not worried about the rest. And that's the problem. And that's a problem for Liberia. And it may be a problem for other African countries, but we've seen it here more prominently than anywhere else. And it will continue. The next government will come and it will be the same thing. Because they will need you when they need you. And then when you don't have, there's nothing you can reach out to get, which is unfortunate.
Glennie, you say you're leaving in 5 minutes, right?
Excellent
Yes.
point.
The 5 minutes now passed. It was
Yeah, so
something here.
guys, allow me to give Glendina an exception yet for also comment on the topic we'll be going to after this one for the students.
Glendy made an excellent point, man. I like that. I like those points that she just made.
Oh yeah,
Excellent.
I like that.
Thank you, Glendy.
Yeah,
Thank
I like that too. So I was actually falling in love with her, but maybe I can say that. I'm just kidding, Glendy. So Glendy, the whole scholarship thing at the office of the president. There's a gentleman in the office of the president who admitted that yes, there was some kind of scholarship they were trying to work on. Yes, they took some money from the students. And at some point, it was said that the first lady didn't know about it. But then he said, well, she didn't know about it, but she was briefed. Has the office of the first lady said anything concerning this?
Nothing. I'm so disappointed by that story, and I don't support any political party. I support individuals, and I supported Joseph Boyka candidacy. But I'm so disappointed that so many stories piling up, so many things connected to fraudulent acts that are not being investigated and nothing's being done. And to hear the story yesterday and listen to him talked about it, and also to indict the first lady by saying that she was briefed. To what extent, we don't know. But to see that after 24 hours later, there's still not a statement from the first lady's office. How I mean, what can I say? It's bad.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about it. And if you think about the Nicotech story, the foreign affairs
25
minister,
million.
yeah, the 25 million scholarship scheme brought to the attention of the government or brought to the government by the Minister of Foreign Affairs. she had the president of the Republic of Liberia launching this Nicotech scholarship
Yeah.
fund, 25 million. They started soliciting money from students just for this thing to turn out as a scam.
Yeah.
The very week this thing was exposed to the public as being a scam and fake, I saw the foreign minister with the president in Sierra Leone. She was reading the statement of the president on the president's behalf in Sierra Leone a week after a scandal that she was responsible for. To this day, the president has said no word.
Yeah. And I
And
think
now go ahead,
and,
man.
and I think what is sad is that they're trying to ignore the messengers. And when you ignore, you should create an atmosphere where you're not ignoring the messages that's coming, that you're doing something about those messages. All of these things will not play out well for the legacy of this government if these things are not addressed from the onset. There's so many stories that's trending, so many things that have happened, and nothing has been said about it. It's almost like let them keep talking. If we condemn George Weah for private jet, we should condemn Joseph Boyka for private jet. And I said, if he's going to continue to ride private jets, then say, this is my mode of transportation. But these things that they continue to ignore will not do well for his legacy as a president. Today, a press statement should have been issued saying that we're investigating, we'll get back, acknowledging that something fraudulent had happened. Look, I took the URL to look at the website. There's no website.
No.
I went to Facebook and posted the name Care Connect or Connect Care. It is actually a nursing agency, like a nursing home for children with autism. There's no scholarship. And we can think that you can say, oh, we gave some of the money back, and that should suffice. I think that's sad. A progressive government who wants change for its people do not operate the way this government is operating. And that's pretty sad. And I am saying that with no form of favor.
I think Wallo is never going to speak to you again, Glenn. Just so you know that.
Yeah.
Say that again.
Sam Wallo. He's never going to speak to you again.
That's on him. That's on him. I mean, we've gone back and forth. I see tonight he agreed with me a little something. It's okay. I'm just going to be Glendy. That's it.
Mr. Namwe, you have been very thorough in terms of articulating the accountability issue. We want our government to do well. I mean, why will we not have a statement from the office of the First Lady concerning why it's not a dubious scholarship scheme? People in her office are involved. There are victims who are come forth. Their statement being confirmed by someone in the First Lady's office that yes, we took money from these people on a fake scholarship that does not exist.
Yeah.
And those guys are still on the job just as the foreign minister is still on the job. So what am I supposed to believe? I'm not supposed to say anything. If I say something, then someone is going to say, "Oh, I'm sorry, not like the government."
He say he agree with Glendy. That's what he said.
Yeah, we are talking about our government. I want the government to do well. The government can do well in this manner, Mr. Nabe, isn't it?
No, I don't take it from me. Take it from Glendy here. Who's there with us? Who supports this government? I mean, for me, I have said repeatedly that I will praise this government if it does well, but I have very little reason for praise for this government. I mean, like she said, there have been scandal after scandal after scandal, and not only is nothing done, nothing is said. You know, I mean, where do we start? You talk about Miata family earlier. You talk about the Minister of State. You know, we talk about the foreign ministry, the Nicotech 25 million. Where do we start? But what has been done about any of these? Absolutely nothing. So it's just another day, another story, another unaccountability or whatever, if that's a word, you know. But it really, really boggles my mind. And all this talk about, the president is not aware of all these things. No, I don't buy that. I think this president is very alert. He knows what's happening because he does act when he wants to act. He acted
Yes.
with, yes, when he doesn't want to act, he acts. He acted with LRRC very quickly. He didn't wait. He acted, right? When Christopher Peterson he was leaving LDEA, he finally acted. He can act when he wants to act. So yeah, I really don't have much to say about this. It's just another nail in
And
the
the
in the
president accepted the resignation of Youngblue.
exactly quickly too, in no time, because he publicly disagreed with a scheme that has been proven time after time after time to be non-existent, to be questionable. I don't want to use the word fraudulent. I mean, I've been really very. I'm for in full disclosure. The foreign minister is my schoolmate, so I really am kind of partial to her, but I'm really confused about all of these things I'm hearing about her. She's not saying anything about it, and the government is not saying anything about it. It is very frustrating. We're talking about the youth taking over the party. They would. This is not the last of it we're seeing, because the young people themselves, they're not stupid. They said nobody's stupid here. The last retreat they held in mid-December at the Golden Key Hotel, they went there to stage a picket. They wanted to barricade the place. Why? Because the kids are hungry, and Amos Stewart and other people are rolling in there in the best of cars. I mean, Modal was there, even though he had just vacated the Commerce Ministry with his $95,000 car. They're seeing all these things. The president is taking jets to go everywhere, including internally. The kids see all of these things, and they're saying, well, but what about us? What about us? Who is looking out for us? And so I think what we saw is not the last of it. I think we'll see more of it until something. And to be honest with you, it is emblematic of governments on the continent. There is very little to go around, but you have to be judicious, and you have to be smart, and you have to be creative about how you divvy it up. You can have a select few people, just enjoying themselves, and the rest of the people, you just tell them go sleep and wait. Wait for what? You've been there 12 months. Wait for what? What are they waiting for? You're not waiting. You're not waiting.
My surprise is, Mr. Number, these are scandals. These are scams. They've been proven to be scams.
It's very clear. You don't need
initiated by somebody appointed by the president, and the president is aware.
Yes.
That this is totally a scam.
Yeah. And Glenn said it. This gentleman, I heard she was on the other show yesterday, and he came in there clearly there is a scam going on. And he went to work today. Why?
Mr. Ducle,
Amicability is still working. What's her name? Mandela Cooper is still working. All of these people are still working. So again, another day, another scandal, another investigation. Why is the Foreign Letters Office investigating that? Why isn't the police investigating that? That's a crime.
That is a crime.
It is a crime.
Mr. Ducle, from the beginning of this government, when we all were saying, okay, let's give the government, you were cautiously optimistic. Are you still cautiously optimistic? Or that has gone away now? Given
an emphatic no. I mean, it's beyond words, Anthony. I mean, sometimes you say, "Let me give them the benefit of the doubt," but I think we've gone past that moment. See, these young people are supposed to be the future of that party, the future of the party, in the sense that you give them hope, you give them something to look up to. And so all the previous speakers have just laid out all the ills that have gotten these young men. I mean, when I actually saw the video you were referencing in your opening of this topic, and this gentleman keep going to the mic as if to say, he's some kind of a messiah, and I mean, it just speaks to what is happening. This is not new. I think we saw the same thing happen with the sedition that Glenn was laying out to earlier. So it speaks to how our politicians local politics once they are in office. And they have to recognize the fact that they are usually beholden to these interests, especially the young ones. So you are only setting yourself up for more chaos and disturbance. And with the way the government has functioned, it doesn't give anyone the inclination that they are going to be any better come the remaining years of their term in office. So, when I remember very clearly when this government was inaugurated, we all have our opinions, and again, our opinions were based on the way we know how things work in Liberia. And so for me, that's what I was saying to Glenn. And when it comes to Liberia, I can bet my life, because these things are not they are not rocket science. I'm sorry to say, they are the same individual. We know them, we've seen them, they have track records. So we're not just blindly speaking because we want to speak. No, we do have records to go by, And when I was reading the story in the vice president's office, it was just I said to myself, I mean, so what? Is it new? And the fact that was the vice president? I mean,
you mean the first lady? You mean the first?
Yeah, I mean the first. I mean, it's somewhat like a joke. And then somebody pushed forward and said, "Oh no, she was brief." Give me a break. I mean, are you guys talking to kids? This is a senior person in your office. Do you actually think that something like that would go on without her knowledge? Yeah, right. I said we're talking to some kindergarten kids. But Anthony, it is what we have in our country. Look, as much as people don't like to hear it, it's going to take some gutsy Liberian that's going to be, that thinks outside the box to do things that we've never seen before or we've never heard of before. Because I always go back to...
And I know some of those Liberians, but the people can't give them a chance. They say they don't know them.
Well, it's bound to happen, because we are going to get to a place where the people that can make those changes will be in charge of making those changes. Whether sooner or later, that's another matter. But it will come. It's bound to come, because now we are at the point where we are at the point of no return. So something drastic has to happen. And that would take that individual, that gutsy person who will come in and turn things upside down. When
I'm asking for Grand Crew. Send me no Grand Crew as superintendent. I don't want to be in Moravia. Just send me no Grand Crew as superintendent. You see me shaking things up. They can't do
it. Well, somebody has to be there that will appoint you.
I think the president is hearing me now.
Well, let's hope so. And we'll start by sending Dennis to the southeast there. Let him start.
And then you will follow. Anthony can tell me he's not hearing us. This is our comrade. We all been on this platform. He has the presidency here.
So, I mean, Anthony, it's sad. As much as, I don't think, again, I'm going to repeat this. I don't think anyone on this platform wants to see Liberia fail. No. But this is the reality we are up against. This is what we have. This is the corrupt system we have created for ourselves. This is our own doing. We're complaining about the True Party. Now we are in charge. What have we done? What have we done? Absolutely nothing. So now those who were the one back in the True Party are saying, yeah, you say you wanted native, you say you wanted, here you are. What have we done? But we've created more mess than we have done things for ourselves. So, you have to take the entire system together and dismantle it completely and rebuild it from scratch. And by that I mean in the mines, even the mines, you have to redo the mines.
Thank you. Thank you. Let me get to Mr. Carter yet. Gabriel, first when I heard that, the first lady did not know about this story, I felt a little bit of relief. I said, yes, there's no way our mother's going to know about this. And this person who has admitted being involved with that kind of scandal, would be having a job. It turns out the guy said no, the woman was brief. So I'm like, okay, it makes sense because you
She was
cannot
not
use
brief
the
deep.
name.
She was brief on the surface.
Yeah, you are brief on the surface, whatever that means. Surface. That means so when they
Yeah,
brief her on the surface, what does it mean? This is her office.
exactly. What does that even mean?
Yeah, that what this person is using. And this guy showed us to work today, and the office of the first lady is yet to release a statement. 24 hours
Yeah.
have passed. Gabriel, what's your reading of this? If this first lady aware of this or not? If she's brief on the surface, what does it mean when someone what it means when someone say brief on the surface?
I think I've said it here on this show before, and we can some people may label it as lazy, but this is something that I've experienced with the government itself, meaning exactly what is happening within the government now with the office of the first lady. Brief on the surface, meaning whoever briefed her never did their due diligence, right? Meaning just taking this simple step. If I send you a document, say, hey, then Mr. Anthony or Mr. Nangwe, I have some kind of proposal for you. Even if you can do it because you are the first lady or because you are the president, you have a team of people around you. Hey, we have this thing in my office. I don't have time to look at it. Do as much work you can do on it and bring it in front of me. Let me hear what you have to say. Basic stuff like that. I said this before and I will say it here again. I had a group of investors that wanted to do a deal with the government. And I mean people at the highest level, I won't name names. You send documents to them to even read the document. Forget doing the research to say, oh, who these people are. Let me look them up and what they have done. They won't read the document. They will come up. They will show up at a meeting on Zoom meeting without even reading the document. Speak out of context to the point that people will ask him, did you even read the document? No, we did not. But this is something that was sent to them 3-4 weeks ahead. So this is not something new. This is a basic like lack of work skills, basic etiquette in terms of how to have the right people around you. This is what you're seeing here. The same thing happened with the scholarship incident. A simple Google search. You don't have to do any kind of in-depth due diligence anymore. Simple Google search would have shown you who these people are or who the founder, what have they done. Pick up the phone. If you have questions, you pick up the phone and trying to ask around. Have you done deal here? Have you done this before? Any other country you've done this to? Simple questions like that will lead you to the right thing. But again, this is the government that we've had. And what baffles me a lot, it's not even baffled. What is appalling is the record on which they campaigned. Oh, this is the All Unity Party. We've been around the block before. We know our way around things. I don't have to elaborate here on this show the failure we've seen over the last 12 months. This has been to the point we're not even comparing them to anything anymore, but we're comparing them to the CDC government. And they are faring like equally, probably or worse. I would say this one thing and I will end. What I think this is an onus upon all of us here too. We talk about government coming in power. We talk about what we expect. We do not have a threshold in terms of what we consider success for government to succeed. If we say if this government coming, what we think it needs to do for it to succeed, we do not have that bar stool. So that any administration that comes in, they wing it, and we continue to sit here and talk about it. So what you are seeing is not anything new. This is just a basic group of people who are just lazy in terms of redoing the simple things that they need to do. And the reason why that happens is because if you get appointed, instead of you putting qualified people around you, you put your friends around you, whether he qualifies or not, the fact that he chanted for you when you were running for campaign, whether he meets the qualification or not, you put him around you. And you have those people around you who don't understand what they're doing, they mislead you. and that's the misleading that is happening right now. That's what we're seeing. So it's not anything that is out of the blue, an outlier incident. This is what we've seen over the last 12 months. I yield.
Yep. Commercial Reef.
Yeah.
This story about this yet another scholarship, this time from the office of the First Lady. There's confession here. That's what I see. This guy said, "Oh yes, you have two victims who came forth. Say, hey, they took 2,000 from us." The guy said, "Yeah, we did. We tried to give some of the money back." What? Some of the money back? Was there even a scholarship in the first place? And we haven't heard anything from the office of the First Lady. What's your reading of this?
Well, I mean, you're probably not going to hear anything, right?
Mhm.
It's been this way for a while now. You don't hear anything, and it dies down. And then we sit and analyze, and then we wait for the next news cycle, and then we analyze. It dies down. No one says anything. You
But
know,
Mohammed, not to cut you up, we don't even know which one to follow. This one's happening. There's another going at the Ministry of Finance. They're all over the
right.
place now.
What about the impasse of the legislature? That's even now becoming an old story, right? I mean, and these are existential issues. So, but it was Professor Dunn, Albert Dunn, the late Albert Dunn, who says every people get the government they deserve. Dunn said it. So, meaning that these people go out here and you either vote in that government or you acquiesce to the operations of the government, because we're enough for that. Look, these people. So if you have a government that's doing all of this, and there are how many million people? 5 million people. So you mean to tell me 5 million people are going to sit and allow from time to time, decades, to do all of this because we're so afraid that they have the apparatus of force that can shoot at a few people. And then the rest of us will say, oh, you can't do that. You can't go on that ground. It's a sacred ground. If you go there, they're going to shoot you. In Sri Lanka, the people got up. The people, the masses got up. And through the prime minister out of office, he ran away. In Egypt, before the CIA reversed the People's Power Revolution in Egypt, the people rose and threw the president out of office. People have taken stuff in their own hands, and I'm talking peacefully, just marching and thrown some dictators out of office. Now, when it comes to Liberia, what is going on, I continue to say this, these guys are not going to make any legislative changes that will shorten these presidential and legislative terms. So when you elect somebody for a president for 6 years, you stuck with that person for 6 years. You let a senator, God forbid it's a bad person, or you're stuck with them for 9 years. You're a member of the House of Representatives. You're stuck with them for 6 years. It's unacceptable. These laws are not good. So it comes back. So I'm looking at the big picture. I'm looking at the big picture. Somebody mentioned the foreign minister, right? The foreign minister did something. We're not even talking about that anymore. That has become our old news now. But in any other country, particularly where we live, the foreign minister will be summoned to answer some questions. In this case, the office of the First Lady, people in there will be summoned to answer some questions here. There will be investigation. Media institutions, journalists will be talking about this. They will raise concerns. But what are we doing now? The only people that are able to raise concerns, that are able to really talk about this without fear or favor, are those in the diaspora, because we are able to say it. We're able to do it. We're independent. So one of the things in Liberia is because people are so reliant on government for their livelihood and being so afraid of government. So it's a combination of all these different things. You're looking for the next appointment. You're waiting for the next appointment. So you, Mr. Activist, you're out there. You're waiting for the next director general position, the next deputy minister position. So you're not going to jeopardize that. Put yourself out there to advocate for anything. So then you become a willing accomplice to a crime of destruction, destroying your own country. The Liberian situation is very tragic because Liberia was supposed to be the home of the African people ability and capability to rule themselves. The oldest independent country in Black Africa. You know, after the Ethiopian independence was briefly interrupted by the Italians in the 1940s. So Liberia is the oldest and one of the oldest democracies. It's sorry, the oldest democracy in Africa, right? So we know that. But how did we get here? How did we get here? And we got here now, and we're not even rising up to say anything about the things that are going on. So we wait for the next thing to happen, and then the next news cycle, and then the next news cycle, the next news cycle. Okay. And lastly, as I mentioned, we're so afraid, our people are so afraid of the powers that are sitting in the executive mansion because they have the military, they have the police, they have the court system. They can lock you up for months and years. They can kill some people. This is a reality. This is a fact. This is a reality. People coming in, they can kill a few people. And people are afraid of that. So someone mentioned that it would take a gutsy person. I would say more than a gutsy person. It would take a gutsy people, all of us combined to effectuate that change. If you want that change, all of us would then have to be that agent of change. And I'm talking about forcing these people, taking that out of their hands. They're not going to give it to you. And unfortunately, some people, I mean, there have to be sacrifices. So if you're talking about real change, there has to be real sacrifices. It can't just be it can't just be a peripheral issue. It can't be one person, this one hero, this Jerry Rawlings type. For Liberia, I don't think it can be that. It has to be the collective of the Liberian people. And I'm talking about people in Cape Palmas, people in Greenville, people in, Cape Mount. Everybody in concert marching for change and forcing these people that we need our country back. We need to change this dilapidated constitution. We need to change our model system, the antiquated system. Okay, we're sitting here talking about, the president being the visitor to the University of Liberia. For what? You're appointing everybody. Superintendent. Comrade, I'm old enough to know there was a time where clan chiefs were elected.
Yep.
Paramount chiefs were elected.
Yep.
I don't know about DCs. I think DCs were appointed or something like that, district commissioners. But these were time. Look, so presidents appointing superintendents, they're appointing the chiefs. They're appointing the president of the University of Liberia. So you're all supreme and you have this supreme power in your hands. Life and death decisions are in the hands of this almighty president. It is sickening. When you have nothing is going to happen.
Comrade, thank you. Great discussion. You are right there. I too, I saw an election of a paramount chief in Sasta. And there were no regular, for lack of a better way to put it, modern ballots. The people got in line And if you are voting for Paramount Chief Juadimne, you got behind him, and you have your rack in your hand, and that is a drum, at the front end, and he's right there first. He will cast a ballot in that drum,
Right.
and then he will walk aside, and then all those behind him will come and cast their stone, in that drum. And once everybody finished casting their stones, people will come and count it right there. Everybody pay attention. Do inside time crew counting. Son, time, yen, mon. Everybody mark that down. Then it will go to the other drum and count. By the time they count the last one, everyone knows who the winner is. And celebration is in the play. I mean, it was beautiful. I saw that. So you are right. That happened. I mean, that's people felt ownership of their local government at the time.
Yeah.
But this time is different. Gentlemen, I think we had a very substantive discussion. I opened the line. I've displayed the number on the screen. I think those who have been following are saying, hey, you guys are doing a great job discussing our nation, Liberia, with our fear or favor. And to add to your point, Comrade, there are some people who say, oh, I have friends in government now. This guy, everybody knows he's my very close friend. He's in the government. So I will not speak truth to power, because I may be endangering my friend's job.
Yeah.
Or my friend will not want to associate with me because people will see me talking, holding the government feet to the fire and say, oh, that guy is with that government official. How he's talking like that?
Right.
And some friends would like to stay away. If you are my friend and you're in government, as I actually do have consequential friends who hold serious position in government, and they know me, I'm a crazy guy. Stay away from me now. Because I am not going to stop speaking my mind.
Right.
I will not stop speaking my mind. And I'll be in Liberia every 3 months, and you and myself will go to the executive mansion.
Right.
As I've always done, and I will not stop speaking. The last time Senator said, well, Anthony is like that, and he's with this other government official. My friends are not cowards. They don't stop me from coming around them. They don't stop me from going to the executive mansion, anywhere with them.
Yes.
They come from an institution that believe in freedom of expression. They know the things that are not right. They know the things that are right. And others have to speak about those things. That's the way to look at it. Gentlemen, substantive discussion. I'll solicit 2 minutes each, not more, for closing. Get us started, Mr. Dukley. Your 2 minutes starts now.
Thank you, Anthony, and thank you to my fellow panelists. I think it was a very good conversation tonight. I hope somebody somewhere is listening. And, all of the things we are talking here on this platform is nothing new. And I just hope that, maybe like Brother Sharif said, maybe it doesn't take only a gutsy person, maybe people, because then it will have a more impact than an individual. So, and I don't think anyone wish that country well more than we do. I mean, it's the only place we all have, and it's the only place we all call home. But it just out of jealousy, out of you wanting to see your country to be better, to do well, especially in areas that she is capable of doing well. She can do well. She has done well before, and so it's not as if to say we need someone who's going to reinvent the wheel. No, we have done this before. We just need the mind and the people who have the mind to be in charge so that we can see these things happen. I mean, if it was in the Republic of Liberia, I was listening to some, I can't remember what it was, but the best 10 universities on a continent. There were only 2 West African countries there, Nigeria and Ghana. I was like, really? So that hurts me, coming from a country like Liberia. I felt really bad. And, there's another friend in the department, a Nigerian guy who came to me to show me that same YouTube video that I was talking about. So nobody likes it, but I just hope that with the new year 2025, there's somebody who is having that mindset to do some, to bring about some badly needed changes in our country, because sometimes, Anthony, as bad as the government might be, there are individuals who can be so impactful that in the midst of all this mess, you can actually see the impact they are making. And I hope that there are people within the government who are going to continue doing what they are doing.
Thank you. Victor?
Thank you very much, Anthony, and thanks to my colleagues. Great show. First, let me take my first 30 seconds and wish my Eagles all the best. We
Okay.
know my boy Jalen Hurts is now participating in full practice. He's going to put a hurt on the Packers on Sunday. Go Eagles. So, but listen, we
We're
started
here.
with we'll see. We started with the University of Liberia and the young doctor. I'll be honest, the odds are stacked against her, right? She doesn't have the luxury of time. She doesn't have the luxury of money. And then she has a long learning curve of the culture. She has a rabid militant agent provocateur who are trained to agitate. They're waiting for her. But notwithstanding, we give her a fighting chance. We're rooting for her. Hopefully, she comes through. I think the university needs a fresh breath of air from outside of the university. We think, we wish her all the best. As to the rest of the scandals and the headwinds that this government is facing, from the vice president's office to Nicotech, to the Minister of Finance, to the youth agitating, I don't know if there's anything new we can say on this. We've said in so many different ways, the lack of urgency on this part of this government, the apparent lack of urgency that address these matters. You come into office and you meet a country that is crying out for help, and you aptly told us you're coming to rescue us. This does not seem to be a rescue mission. We're in the middle of the ocean, we're drowning, and we've been drowning for 12 months now. It doesn't seem to be that a rescue is on the way as yet. So we're waiting to see. There was almost $36 million shortfall in the last budget. They come with this big budget. We know they're not going to raise the money because they're corrupt. Most of them, they're pocketing the money. So there's always going to be budget shortfall, and the young people are seeing it. Why do you think they will not set up roadblocks soon to stop them from going to work? I'm not putting any ideas in their heads. I didn't tell them to do what they did today, but I think it's going to happen if they don't quickly turn things around. We don't have the money, and this president is flying all over the place in private jets everywhere he goes. How do you tell the kids that we don't have the money? How do you explain that to Masuro in the market? How do you explain that? So it's a contradiction, and they don't want us to talk about it. Yeah, I feel you. You're saying, I have friends right now who are practically disinviting me at our gathering now, when I go to Liberia. In fact, some of them we're in the same chat room. They don't comment on my comments anymore, but hey, I know sooner or later we'll all come to realize, that we all are saying the same thing. We're just saying it differently. We all want the best for Liberia. That's what we're fighting for. And I really think this government, I think they can do better. They can do better than they're doing. They're disappointing us. They're underperforming. They're too comfortable. They shouldn't be. They shouldn't be comfortable. They should be uncomfortable. Alari should be uncomfortable. Anthony Cassidy should be uncomfortable. Samuel Kofi Wu should be uncomfortable. All of these people who are always running the street, they know what it means to suffer. And they know that a lot of young people are hurting. They can't be comfortable with what is happening. I'm very disappointed. I'll be honest. I am very disappointed, and I'm hoping that they will sooner find a way out of this, because time is running out. Time is running out. People will soon begin to take to the streets. Once they begin to do that, I'm afraid that genie cannot go back in the bottle easily. So great show. Thank you very ever so much. Every time you give me an opportunity to say my piece, hopefully somebody will listen somewhere
Yeah,
and
your
help
friend
our people.
Sam Waller is listening, and
I think he is. He's been going back and forth with him, but you know what, Sam Waller, he's just Sam Waller. But thank you very much for the show.
thank you. Comrade Sherry, you got a final word tonight, brother.
By the
Yeah.
way,
So
Sam Waller says you stop using the word comrade.
Okay, I will stop, Sam.
So, in Liberia, when our people get sick, where do they go now? They go to Ghana, right? So people go to Ghana, they find other outlets. This is, 170, over 170-year-old country. And you go to Ghana, that gained independence in 56, I believe it was. Um, all the major organizations, global, and I'm talking about the most important ones now, uh, relatively speaking, and in Africa, weren't Liberia part of those foundations? How many organizations you can name me that Liberia was not a foundation stone? Liberia was at the United Nations Conference in San Francisco in 1944. Clarence L. Simpson, the vice president, was there as a signatory. Liberia was part and parcel of the formation of the Organization of African Unity, now the AU. We remember the San Equally Conference of 1959. There is the Monrovia group, there's the Casablanca group, Sekou Touré, Kwame Nkrumah, and others. The Monrovia group, those guys who, wanted, as you always say, the minimalists, Tubman and others, the Monrovia group, there was that group. So it was a combination of that group, the Monrovia group and the Casablanca group, that got together. Kwame Nkrumah was so disappointed in Tubman and others that he stormed out. So they had to spend 6 years to go and get him. So finally, they formed the Organization of African Unity. Tubman them got their will. So what I'm saying here, ECOWAS and others, Liberia's founding member, very important country in the milieu of African states. Very important country, historically speaking, in the milieu of the international community. So that Liberia, you go in there, you hear all these things, all this history. People across the world, when Liberia is mentioned, they know the importance. But you go in there, and it's very disappointing. You begin to, as indigenous people ourselves, you start to look into, the belly of that country. You really go in. There's nothing there. So now I'm going to join the street people to say that history will eat. Okay. History. Okay. I'm probably going to join the street people to say that now because of the frustration. The frustration with this very important country that is not living like an important country. Look at this that, J. Victor was saying, and you were saying, okay, why was someone from the First Lady's office engaged in such a thing? That is beneath that office. And the person come out and say, oh, the old man was brief. This is beneath that office. The foreign minister, other issues. We thought that this was behind us.
Please don't forget, she was brief on the surface.
That's a key word. Surface.
Yeah, on the surface. And nobody, Jeff Victor, let me tell you that. So nobody is going to come out now out of that office. So if I'm a public relation officer for that office, I go to the Oman to say, no, we got to put something out here. We got to put a press release out here. We got to call a press conference.
But that's the public relation man who's able to put something out.
He's the one who said there was something out.
My God. I mean, look, where are we? Or where are we? So, Anthony, I'm telling you, This country, when you listen to people, when you listen, you do all this historical analysis, you study, all these events, and you see, the primary importance, the primary role of Liberia and Guinea and Ghana and others. You see how important this country is to the international community, within the milieu of the international community. And then the country is not acting, the leaders are not acting like it. They're not acting like that. It's like people are respecting you. Get out there and people respect you, but you don't respect yourself. You don't respect yourself. It's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling. The millions of dollars that people take every month, that they steal from the country every month, the millions of dollars all across the board that people steal. You add a little bit of those, that can run your university for years. That can run your university for years, because those little bit, they add up. They add up. I just want to stop here. I mean, I can go on, man. I can go on this forever. This rent forever, but it's a positive. Okay.
Comrade,
I'm sick of this.
thank you. And we all love our country. We know there's so much history about Liberia that actually has made our country to be a significant country in Africa.
Wait, I
No,
get to go, right?
forever. Our history is so diverse and so rich
Gabriel hasn't gone yet.
and so good. Okay, Gabriel, I'll come to you.
Yeah.
And so good that if only we can tell that story, and the young people of Liberia can know that story, they will be inspired to be great people. But who are the people that should tell the story? Our leaders should tell the story. They should tell the story with their actions, with their decisions, with their leadership. But it is the opposite. I think Senwater will agree with me on this one, because I'm not yelling and shouting as I usually do. They're not telling the story. A story is told about a place called Sastan, where I came from. There's a warrior, or there was a warrior called the legendary Joa Nimle of Sastan. The guy was a giant. I can write that story, and people in Liberia can read that story, can attach them to the country. But who's going to read it when our schools are not there for the children? But let me stop there. Gabriel, you're closing.
Yeah, I'll be very, very quick. Just 2 points that I just wanted to make. First of all, I just wanted to say something about what Mohammed said. I think, in a grand scheme of things, in as much that I think we have that unique history in terms of the founding of Africa, the AU, the UN, and all these bodies that we're part of, what we tend to do, we tend to live on that history. Meaning we live on past glory, that we forget to now say, hey, those were things that we were part of, but how do we continue to grow in gradation? What are we becoming in this world that is evolving to continue to remain relevant? Everybody else has evolved from that scenario. And I think this is where we're stuck. And I think when we read that, we get so excited, but we have to evolve. Everybody else has evolved. But here's the 2 points that I wanted to make. I think I needed to make this point, but I didn't get to speak on it. The whole disenchanting youth of, Unity Party with that whole conference that they had. This is something we've seen before. Is that every political party that comes to power, they have their old youth wing that comes on, and it's almost like a propaganda that the government uses to kind of force this false narrative that they're doing something good. In this case, for them, it just backfired. And I think the reason why these things backfire is because it's the underlying impact of what is happening with our economy. You cannot have a failing economy but want to project propaganda to say that you're doing so well, right? And we've seen that from this government as well, that they're failing, and we'll continue to see that failure. The next point that I'm going to make, and I'll be very quick and I'll end, is the appointment of the university president. I think we should give her a chance, right? We should give her a chance. She comes from a very historic institution. She has a stellar background, in as much that I think that she has a lot of challenges ahead of her, right? She has something to prove. Let's give her that chance. Let's see what she can do. For most of you who are familiar with the university, I heard it was the one of the best on the continent. So hopefully she can bring that rigor back to the university, bring it to, maybe if it was never a research institution, make it a research institution for once, and put Liberia back on the map. But I know there's going to be a lot of challenges, some of that being funding, and whether the government gives her the autonomy, the absolute autonomy she needs to make decisions in terms of clearing house, getting rid of some of the professors that are there who sells pamphlet as their way to make money, and really bring a body of people around her who can help her build that institution. I yield. Thank you.
You call those people professors. They are quacks. We have a caller on the line.
Professor Self.
Go ahead. Your name and where you're joining us from, please.
Where I'm calling from.
Okay.
Yeah, look at you, the probably university, AU or UL, however you call it. I was there at the University of Liberia. I did not graduate. The issue there is the students themselves. Most of the guys you see in the street advocating, discussing issues. You put in the classroom, they came in school the bare minimum. But guess what? They can talk. That's the thing that they put the faculty use to get in the street. I was there one day. I was talking to one of the guys. I said, "Who got issues on the campus? Who are paying to use the latrine that we should go to for free with no upgrade for it, but we are fighting Balasari. We are fighting those who are supposed to come and give funds to the university. When government officials run off, they come on the campus and send scratch cards on those who can talk to upgrade for them. So I guess if our lady, if our advising her, don't take the job. They also see university students, they who are called faculty association, who can lie, who can ask you to pay $400 to graduate. How can you pay few money to go to school to graduate is $400 for graduate fee? I don't get it. We got a long, long way to go. Even the Great America, the government university is not free. How can you say university of America should be free? We were there when the late the last person that get passed away. When he came there, he said he's going to increase the tuition from $100 for credit out to $135. That was demonstration. The school should be free. And in economics, there is no free schools. So we got there's a lot of things like for nobody looking at it the way other people looking at it. The government will send subsidy, the government will send what other they send there, can you run a university? And besides that, the other guy on the campus say free speech. The government will give you subsidy of for the university. You're on the campus abusing all the government officials. Why they are corrupt? Why they are not corrupt? And the government officials, those people who in government right now, 99.9% graduate from that university. But they don't even care about university no more. We got a long, long way to go. Even people who help the university, you keep it funny there, somehow will take it away that parking and go. There are a lot of scholarship, people who here who for Grand Guinea Association, Nemaga Association in America, they send money for that children to go to school. The money don't end up in the right hand. People eat the money. People eat the money. So we got a long, long way to go. For the president office, I can tell you for free, most of you on the platform over there, you might not know about it. If you get a nephew in Liberia, if you get a cousin in Liberia, they say, oh, my uncle in America, my uncle is doing one way for you. They will go to people and take money. People go and take money in the people's name, in the house, they don't know about it. The only person I go is the president. She heard it on news. She heard it on the major platform. She not give a statement. But people do that. That's our point. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Emmanuel. That was our caller. Gentlemen, I think we have had a great discussion. This is how we will come to the discussion. I think the caller spoke from experience, was at the University of Liberia. People printing pamphlets and all kinds of things happening. He said they were paying to use the latrine. And some of the comrades who are advocating for all the good things on campus would talk about that. I mean, how you pay for latrine on the campus to use? You're paying your tuition and everything, right? I mean, those are the facilities you should be entitled to. But now you have to pay for latrine that is not even clean.
Wow.
And maybe the next thing you know, you pay your money the next day, it's not clean enough for you to enter.
Do they even have functional latrines?
Well, and here's the thing: the first thing you worry about when you come on that campus, one of the first things once you get on campus is food. So food, maybe during our time, like you have 50 cents or $1, something like that. Your day is made. So you're not worried about going to pay for a latrine. I mean, that should be the last thing on your mind. I mean, unbelievable.
All right, gentlemen, that's it.
Got a
We
long
want
way
to
to
say
go.
thanks to you, the debaters tonight, for coming with that and depth and discussing in a very significant way. We want to say thank you to our viewers and listeners who have been with our man Sam Water, who can't just go away. He's enjoying Focus on Liberia, and we are enjoying.
He's specifically busy tonight.
The man is busy. We'll keep him
Anthony,
busy.
do you know him so you can bring him on, or is he a ghost? Is he using ghost name?
That guy is
Nah,
a
he's a
coward.
real he's a real
He's a
person.
real person. Okay, but he can't. So he can't show his
He's a
face.
coward. He's a ghost.
Ah.
Practically, he's a ghost.
So he's a ghost.
Sam,
Okay.
you listening?
You know why he did? So I reached out to him
Mhm.
in a Facebook inbox. I said, look, I see that you have been sharing some of the things you call accomplishment. This pronouncement from the government you call
I'm
accomplishment.
on the show.
Yeah. No, I didn't ask you to even come on the show. I said, send me that detailed list. I will put a show together to see how I can raise the issues with the panelists. The man said, I can never do that. Those were his words. He said, I can never do that. But he does that every day, by posting them.
And those
are the people that's wrong with the government. That's what's wrong with the government.
So that's why I
exactly.
call Sam a ghost, but actually Sam is
Deborah, do you know him?
I do not. No.
Okay, but you say it's a real. This man's a ghost. He's using ghost name.
I mean, he's commenting. He's saying
it doesn't matter. He's using ghost name. That's not his name. Sam Waller's not his name.
I gotta give him credit though. I mean, he's right. He keeps us going. So
Yeah,
right,
we appreciate Sam, right? Because Sam, I'm not sure he can miss any show here at FOL.
I don't think so.
And he keeping us in check. He's criticizing us, and I like that. And he's part of our very, very active.
We need to bring him on one of these days.
He's a government official.
Yeah,
whoever he is, I think he's a coward and he's a ghost.
You say I agree about ghosts.
In person?
Huh?
You don't know this Sam Waller guy in person?
No, I don't know him in person, but I believe he's an actual person. It's just that he doesn't want to show.
No, I mean, is he just using a pseudonym as a Sam Waller?
I think that's his real name.
Well,
no, that's not his real name.
I'm tempted to think that's his real name.
No.
Except that he's not willing to show his identity, and that's his right to do so. I just appreciate the fact that
he does raise some really good points.
Oh yeah, he makes some good point, and the good thing is that he's supporting the government. We want the supporters of government. We want to hear both sides.
Why are we even talking about Sam Wallow, guys? Let's get out of here, please.
Because he's a ghost. He's a coward. That's why we're talking about.
He's an important person.
Good night. Good night. Good night to you all.
All right, guys, that will do it. And that will do it. The song that says we are all Liberians is taking us home right now. Guys, until we see you again, bye-bye and enjoy the song. We are all Liberians.
We are Liberians. Liberia is our